And welcome into the League Down Under. It's the podcast that takes you inside the inner sanctum of our Dynasty League, and it asks the question, which team are you going to side with? I'm your host, Ben, joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Kenny and Hod. How we doing, guys?
Yeah, very good, mate. Another big ep in the works tonight, and we have a serious contender on tonight. Hod, how are you, mate?
I'm very good. We've had a very up and about pre-sesh to this recording. It's number 12 for us, the even dozen. So why not have one of the favourites to take out the title this year? It's very, very fun, this pointy end of the team review, so I must say.
Yeah, this is where it gets serious. You know, we've been going through the fodder of the league, if you will. We got we've started to get our contenders on. We had a McMahon on last week, just running us through his inner workings, but we're about to get another McMahon on tonight. So without further ado, let's introduce someone who has had some serious luck already and talent in this league with our next guest.
Prestige worldwide. Why? Prestige worldwide. Management.
Financial portfolios. Insurance.
Computers.
Black leather gloves.
Investors? Possibly you.
What have you two lost it at?
Without further ado,
I'm pronouncing the words correctly, thank you very much. It's A-D-I-E-U. That would be adieu. It's not ado, if that's what you think. But anyway, I'm not here to argue semantics of the English language. Let's get our champ on. Matty Mack, welcome to the pod. How are you doing, my friend? Oh, he's coming up.
He tried to scare us.
Oh, please do. Jump on the YouTube page, The League Down Under, to see that intro there. It was a very up-close and personal encounter with the champ. Mate, you've been through the wars tonight before you've even jumped on a pod to then have to defend your team. How you feeling?
Bit razzled, but glad to be on. Glad to have a nice bottle of mother's milk in my hand. Yeah, it's been an interesting night. Technical issues, parenting issues, but I'm on with you boys now, so looking forward to the next hour.
Put all that behind you, mate. Crack one for the listeners here. And get ready. Doesn't that just sound great? That is a nice little sound grab there. But yeah, let's get ready for a good way to unpack your team. Now, if anyone listening who has been an avid listener of the podcast so far, whoa, I'm off to a flyer. You'll recognise the voice of Matty Mack here. He was a guest co-host a few weeks back here where we did unpack the rookie draft. And Matt, you had a fair bit to say already about your team in that episode there, so that kind of doesn't leave us with much to talk about tonight. So that was a really quick episode. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another episode here. We've heard about the Prestige Worldwide already on this pod, but no, I'll scratch. Whoa. Hitting all sorts of buttons here tonight. But no, Matty, let's get serious right now.
Let's get tropical.
Let's get tropical. You had a lot to say about the draft, but there's more to your Dynasty team than the draft, isn't there, Keeney?
there's a lot with Thayer's Dynasty team. We actually, it's pretty handy. Let's be honest. We'll go through that in a sec. But I think the first thing we want to talk about first off is the thing we ask everyone, and that's your views on the infamous now Harold Fannin trade that our great mate Jake Pantis made not long ago.
He's a big fan of you.
Your rival.
My rival. I don't give him much thought. Well, maybe I will now that he's tried to get under my skin. But no, I think it was the same as everyone else. Lying in bed, excited for a Friday morning draft. I know Tim certainly was out on site with the tools. No access to make picks all day. But I got the notification after about pick 5 or pick 6, whatever it was in the draft, said a trade has been completed. And I thought, I wonder who's moved up to this spot. And I opened it up and I just saw it. And it didn't surprise me at all. I think we all know what kind of human Panthers is. And yeah, I think any favours that he had with the fantasy gods have probably gone now. So I think, if anyone's sitting on the fringe of the playoffs thinking that they can get in, I think there's no better time than now to jump in and have a crack, because I reckon that Luther Burden game followed into the Harold Fannin trade. Yeah, it's
the bad
changed the
juju.
league. So this will be a real look back moment in a few years' time, I think.
It will be. And how would you compare it to trading Robert Tonyan for a first rounder off Jim?
I think it was you, Keeney, on the pod with Tim the other day that said, we're in year 7 now. That was it back in year 1. That pick for the listeners actually ended up being the 111, who ended up being, I think it was Zay Flowers. And I traded the 111 for Deontay Johnson, who ended up losing his shit. And yeah, if I could take my
How's
time
research,
again,
the knowledge?
It's pretty good. Hey, Thais, what's more stiff? The fact that Jim's first round pick became the 111, or the fact that Robert Tonyan went on to score in total seasons after his 176 when you sold him as the tight end 3, 50, 112, 22, 0 and 1? What do you reckon's more stiff out of those two?
Well, it's very Jake Panis or even Brody Hoddick, trying to do the sell. It's like, what do you mean you don't want the tight end 4 overall from last year?
Yeah. Well, I remember at the time saying to you, or saying to Jim, that did you sell? You clearly just sold him on the fact that he was tight end 3, and not on the fact that the points difference between tight end 3 and tight end 2 was about 80-something points. It was an absurd gap between the top 2 and then everyone else.
Yeah, it's done a lot of reflection, a lot of growing since then. There's a lot of trades that I've said no. I mean, I'm one of many that wanted to make a deal for Harold Fannin over the off-season. And, there are a couple of trades that would have been fair, but I just felt uncomfortable making the trade because it would have changed the trajectory of my team. If I had known it, I could have just thrown in like a fucking
Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, who's the worst running back on my roster? Probably better than most people's starting running backs, but we'll save that for later on in the pod. Yeah.
Oh, shade.
Speaking of trades, Thais, there's been a few at the pointy end with some other contenders that are going to be right next to you at season's end. Just a quick snapshot: Papa getting JSN, Timos getting CMC and Derek Henry, and then Keeney's also made a move for a few players. How are you feeling there at the pointy end?
Yeah, pretty good. Like, it's the best division in world sport. We don't like each other. We don't try and be the other divisions where we're the best division in world sport. We're super chummy. We love trading with each other. It's we just flat out don't like each other. And there's probably no surprise that we're all shaping up to be pretty good coming into this year. But I'm hoping that there's a gap. I mean, starting with those trades, Papa and JSN, I'm not a big trade for someone at their peak kind of guy. Like, whether he gave up a heap, that's probably jury's still out where those first land and what happens with Marvin Harrison. But I'm probably not a big fan in going after a wide receiver or something like that when they're at their peak. With Timos, good trade. Scary trade. I was actually having a chat to Tim about some running backs, but one of them ended up beating his missus a couple of days later, and that trade was quickly killed. So that's Josh Jacobs for anyone listening. And with
we got that.
you have to jog me memory. What players did you bring in?
Nothing of significance.
He's just building out the depth, but
the Jake Panner special, the depth.
Bit of capital there to move. But yeah.
Yep.
What do you think of what do you think of Brother McMahon last week, mate?
Thought he's good. He's a man of few words, but I thought he was articulate. Thought
He was up
straight
and
to the
about, wasn't he?
point. Yeah, and it was no surprise that he was using his phone and at times out of picture and off the grid. That's I think the last time you had him on the pod, he was in his jocks, wasn't he?
one sock on.
There was also just a sock.
There was also no surprise he ran out of charge.
No, he's good.
On the phone.
Yeah. Enjoyed it.
Oh, what about Jake? Come on. There's a rivalry building. He had some stern words to both McMahons. What have you got to fire back
what
at?
It is about us that bothers him so much, to be honest. I think outside of fantasy, Jake's great. We get along well. But yeah, when it comes to fantasy, he's a shithead. And I think, he doesn't like us and we don't like him.
Good.
Fair. All right, let's start looking at your roster here. And we've got to start by saying, for anyone who isn't part of the league, I'll just give you the quickest snapshot you can as to why this guy on our screen tonight is sitting here is considered the number one strongest team. And that's the fact that you have Josh Allen, Bijan, and Jamar Chase, arguably the top three players in each of their skill positions there on your roster, not to mention a few others, which we'll get into a little bit. That's very rare air that you're in there, mate. I think, Keeney, you were looking at some startup rankings a bit earlier there. Josh Allen's the number one overall. Bijan's about number 5 or 6, depending on the rankings, and Chase is about 4. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you've got 5 or 6 inside the first 2 rounds of the startup in Superflex, which is not fair on the rest of the league, to be frank. But we'll just have to keep pushing on.
Yeah. Hod.
I thought Matt was going to offer some commentary there.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good for us.
How do you approach the season sitting as... I'd say it is a unanimous number one contender, just in the state of your roster right now. Do you see the others around you making moves and get a little bit antsy, or do you just sit there, hold fort, and let the season play out before making any moves or adjustments as you go?
It's an interesting one. I probably, like where the team's at heading into this year, looking around, it'll come down to so long as I can stay pretty healthy. If I stay pretty healthy, really like my chances, obviously, but you just never know. I mean, like with Joe Burrow, he's always hurt, it seems, and he's got a couple of Bengals tied to him, so that's like a pretty big, and that's why I've got Flacco backing him up. But in terms of the league, I reckon at this stage, a couple of the guys in my division have piqued my interest, not the Punishers, just to be clear. And then everyone else we'll just wait and see what happens. I mean, Hod, you're probably the only other one with a lot of draft capital who could do anything. How quickly you could turn it around this year, not sure. But everyone else is it feels like a bit low on draft capital, or, they've got a nice, solid team. But that's probably how I'm looking at things at the moment.
I just want to touch on Papa there, because... You had some theories about why he didn't, in fact, join us tonight.
I had some facts. Yes, I did. I heard that he was supposed to be on this week. Tried to go after me initially, and I said, no, I'll go second. And then I got a call yesterday saying that I need to come on the pod this week because... Papa's at sleep school with his daughter, and I said he's absolutely not. First off, let's be honest, Nat would be there, Papa would not be there. I don't know if he's ever put his daughter to sleep. He's
you can
so
talk about his roster.
He told me about what I might say to him if he went first. He just could not go after me, before me, excuse me. Sorry.
He wants the right
so
of the fight.
he's just, I had a chat to him yesterday, and he pulled all these charades around how he's at sleep school and it's really hard, and I said, it's not, mate, just get on the pod. Give me your worst. We had a healthy discussion, and I said, I'll make sure I fire a couple of shots before I jump off.
I'm reading between the lines here, Thea. So you're saying that Papa should have jumped on the pod because that would have been far better instead of sleep school. Just play the episode. That would have done the trick. Is that what you're saying?
He's talked us all to sleep before. So,
well, I think...
And he'd be at home on his own, so I don't know what he's doing. Actually, we all know exactly.
If he can
what
have
he's
the
doing.
final say whilst he's not here, I'll say it for him. But he said you should go first, considering he was the division champ last year. So he's animated and ready to come on. I feel like he feels disrespected in the
I'll let you the
EL
day I
community.
know. Hod, I'll let you know the day I start celebrating division championships. It's not now, and it won't be anytime soon. But yeah, whatever makes him feel special.
Well, he was also the number one seed last year, which I may have got that wrong a couple of episodes ago. I think I said Matt was. So he's been a little bit antsy, a bit on my case the
Fact-checking
last
for
2 or
you.
3 weeks
think
about
I
that.
was-
So apologies, Papa. You were the number one seed, but 0 rings to show for it, just like me. Mate, before we dive into your roster specifically, I am interested in your Green Bay Packers and just your views in totality on their wide receiver room. It's always a tricky one for maybe non-Green Bay people to get their heads around and try and work out who's actually the best player there. So, Christian Watson, Golden, Reed, and then Tucker Kraft. How do you see them all lining up this year in fantasy?
Yeah, I think obviously they were going to pay Dobbs the $80 million he got, and Wicks. It's a shame because I really liked Wicks, and I think a lot of Green Bay fans did as well. But for whatever reason, just wasn't able to catch on. Like he put up some good numbers, like in kind of analytics anyway in the first couple of years, and then he just kind of fell out of favour a bit. And apparently it's going all right for Philly. So I think what they've kind of done now is just reduce the amount of mouths to feed. So they've got the 3 receivers and the tight end there. So it might bring a bit of stability to the offense, and all those guys probably got higher floors than what they had previously. We just have to wait and see. I mean, what I do know is they don't play Jaden Reed in a lot of 2 receiver sets, and they play a lot of 2 receiver sets. So whether they tinker with the offense a bit while they wait for Tucker Kraft to come back this year, don't know. But yeah, kind of high enough on all of them. They all play a very particular role. Golden's got the upside. Kraft's probably the biggest star, and then Watson, if he can stay healthy, could rival Kraft. We just don't know. Just have to. I think there'll be a lot of touchdown. Between the 4 of them. Like 1 year it could be Kraft could have 12. The next year Watson could have 12. So the variance that will probably dictate how the guys score.
Do you see one of them elevating above the other, or in a redraft format, you're happy just to take the cheapest piece and see what happens?
Probably. I think Reed's probably the guy I'm the least high on from a fantasy perspective, and the other 3, they could be 1 through 3 in any order, just depending on how it goes. If Kraft's healthy, it really opens it up. So I think it's good that they don't have. It's not like they've got the star Devontae Adams and then Geronimo Allison and Jeff Janis and that running around anymore. So it's nice when your 3rd or 4th catches actually
Jeff
good.
Janis.
Geronimo the magician.
I like the fact there, Habaderis, that Keeney was writing notes that entire time. I think he's just he's studying up for the auction draft there, and you've just given him some fantastic intel, Thais. But really quickly, to continue on with that, Jordan Love, do you see him potentially featuring as a QB1 this season with arguably not the highest end talent to throw to, but he's going to spread. I mean, he's the last 2 seasons he's finished QB 15, 17. He's right on the fringe after his QB5 finish 3 years ago. So do you see that he's going to continue on that periphery of being a QB1 or launch back in?
Yeah, well, I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm more a points per game kind of guy to get the comparison. I know Love's missed a couple of games. Malik Willis played a bit last year. I think he's a QB1, but he's probably never going to challenge for overall QB1 because he just doesn't have the rushing upside of some of the others. But there's no reason that he couldn't throw 40 touchdowns for 4,500 yards.
Very true.
All right. Yeah.
Well, let's move away from real life football and let's move back into the fantasy world here. Let's jump into your roster dive, mate. We've got our friends here over here at Dynasty Daddy. If you're not watching right now, jump on YouTube, The League Down Under. This is I think the best way to sum up your roster, it sort of breaks down each position and it ranks them according to the league. It's currently got you at the number 1 overall team, the number 1 starting rank. It's got your QB room at number 3 overall, running back room number 1, wide receiver room number 3. You drop off a little bit with your tight end room here at number 6, and then your draft rank, which actually I think if you're the number 1 team, Hod, I reckon you spoke about this the other week, that it should almost be the inverse. Your draft rank should be 12, and you're actually sitting at draft rank number 8, which is kind of rare that you have not only a 28 first, but a 29 first too. So, look, just to quickly run through, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, great starters there. You spoke about Joe Flacco being that backup, because it does drop off after that. So really, if Joe Burrow gets injured, you're covered. If Josh Allen gets injured, there's a fair hole that opens up in your team there. Move over to your running back room. You got Bijan, HN, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs. I mean, the fact that Chuba Hubbard is your 6th running back is a nice position to be in. Move to your wide receiver room. You've got Chase, CeeDee Lamb as your stars. T. Higgins, he's been on your roster since day dot. You've just carried this guy through with that Bengal Express trio. Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman's been a nice addition there. Jalen McMillan's a frisky one for you too. So there's some interesting plays here. And then Colston Loveland, he is your tight end room because Evan Ingram's your number 2 and then your rookie Justin Joly. So you're hoping for a lot of a sophomore season out of the bloke. But, I mean, looking at that roster and looking at all the green, as Kenny pointed out here, in the values of those players, how are you feeling just looking at that? Is that, I mean, are you getting is your desk rising looking at this list?
After 9 a.m.
It's felt like it's been like that for a while, so it's not, I haven't just kind of been like, oh God, the team's pretty good. But you're always looking to improve your team. There's always things that you want to do, wish that you had it done differently, and that's kind of what motivates you to keep trying to do those things. We're just at that really boring part of the off season where we've left the draft and free agency, and I think even the training camp's been overshadowed by the World Cup and NBA free agency and things like that, and the mighty Bombers. So I think I've got time to talk about.
I don't think the Bombers and overshadow would feature in too many sentences.
There's a very high level of self-belief and bordering on arrogance tonight from the champ. I feel this. I don't know what you guys feel, but he's got the roster to back it up. But I like how he's exploring how good he is live, and it's just water off a duck's back. But in terms of being a contender, mate, I want to talk to you about this. And how long do you think this window's open for you? And is it something that you would like to use some draft capital to keep that window open as long as possible? Because you do have the best team. It is a tough division. But do you think it's going to last for a fairly long time with what you've got?
I think, a lot of the information that we get from Twitter and our fantasy sources and things like that, there's a lot of parity out there. So it's like, are you a contender? Are you rebuilding? Are you looking to contend or to rebuild? But in this league, I think I'll contend forever. I don't think we have the league where we have parity. I think until some of the teams that haven't yet made the playoffs or won a playoff game or made earth-shifting trades to have a crack, I like to think that, for some of those pieces that I'll be competitive for as long as I want.
Did you just shout out against your closest ally, the DFF, just there? Was that a dig at him?
About making groundbreaking trades?
Or not winning a playoff game or making the playoffs?
Or just
Has he not won a playoff game? I thought the way he's been talking about Sammy Darnold of late, that he's maybe even won a ring himself.
I was actually going to ask Thais, if you could put a number on it, how many rings do you think you'll win before the DFF gets his first on the board?
Oh, that's a good question. We should be asking everyone this question. That should be a staple.
Well, after listening to Tim last week calling out that he's going to be the first to leave the league, we're going to have to incentivise him to stick around.
Are you going to have one or two hands full before the DFF even gets a sniff?
Get the Brady going on. Before he gets a ring, as long as Sleeper still exists by then. Yeah.
Do you agree with Tim's sentiments that he has it in him? He is the type of person to walk away from this if it gets too hard.
Yeah, I do, but I think he'd still stay in the group chat.
Oh no, that's the worst scenario. For
Yeah, that
everyone.
is. We don't need
I
13
could just-
people in the group chat.
The Instagram will stay live.
I could just
Yeah,
picture
definitely.
him in 10 years' time, just chiming in, "Hey, Keen, you won a ring yet?" Or, "Hey, Jim, you cracked 70 yet?" Well, he'll never leave us.
Well, there's a reason he's our number one listener, because we talk about him far too much. So back to your roster here, Thais. We'll dive through the roster in more detail, but we'll let you drive the ship here. Which player on your roster are you most high, or irrationally high even, compared to the general expert consensus?
Ooh, well, it's tough because when I have a look at, had another question in there around who's your sleeper or breakout player. Might be the same player, so maybe I'll just answer them both at the same time. I think the obvious one would be Colson Loveland, but I think everyone's high on him. So I'm going to go with a bit of hoot scootin' tootin' baby, Bashal Tootin'. I think, he's a guy that went early fourth round, heavy analytics GM last year. I kind of saw the writing on the wall for ETN. Traded him and lost that trade, which we'll get to later. But yeah, he didn't exactly catch on last year the way I wanted. But I think the analytics that I've seen anyway, there wasn't anything to suggest that he wasn't playing well and that EDM was playing amazing, which is coach's preference, and he got most of the work. And yeah, this year he's supposedly improved at camp. Like, he's really explosive. He's probably just not a true out-and-out running back. Like, he's still probably got does he see holes and run through gaps and stuff as good as some other people with that athleticism? Don't know. And his main competition is the career 7 catches bloody Robinson. Rodriguez, what's his name?
I was going to say, it's kind of weird that you're irrationally high on the RB2 in Jacksonville's offense. That's a weird thing to be high on, mate.
Like, if you're looking at upside,
Deep
unless
sleeper.
you're Derrick Henry, you've got to catch the ball. And I'm not convinced that this bloke's going to catch the ball even if he plays. And then, the other running back in the room, he's like a third down pass specialist, fine. But, I think the writing's on the wall for him to score a lot of points and break out.
I listened to something the other day that they actually compared the Jacksonville running back room a little bit to the Bengals a few years ago when Joe Mixon left. And there was the debate about would Chase Brown or would it be Zach Moss? And there was going into that draft season, there were two camps, and I think Jacksonville find themselves in a very similar position. And arguably you could say that Tootin is very similar to the Chase Brown model, and we've seen how that's played out in Cincinnati. So that would be an interesting one to watch. And I think that it really is two camps right now, and really it's whatever stats that you're going to go into, particularly in redraft, I think, which one you're going to lean into. But yeah, I think in your position you'd be very happy if obviously Tootin is, what is he, your fifth or sixth running back right now. That's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, you always want to have kind of some guys with legitimate upside. Like, it's hard to take a receiver in the fourth round in the NFL draft and expect them to blow up onto the scene and put up a top 24 season. Whereas I think a starting running back with that kind of profile, it's
in an offense that's arguably going to be much improved and pretty competitive.
Well, I know you said it's a quiet time of the off season, but not for me when you're studying the draft and mock drafts. And let's just say, Thais, let's just hope Tootin delivers this year, because it might be a 1-year rental. I think the Jags will be one of the teams that invest in a very nice running back room next year in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see. I do like Rodriguez, like you, Benny. I'm not convinced yet that Tootin's the runaway starter here, but it'll be an interesting backfield to watch on a pretty exciting offense.
Well, I think the world's smartest man, James Gladstone, just asked him, Kenny. Surely he's not taking a running back high up in the draft, is he?
Wouldn't have thought so. But I don't know. I think everything they've done suggests that Tootin's the man. I think what also helps him is in their playoff game last year when they lost, he actually was the one that looked most likely out of the two, and then they've shipped off ETN. So anyway, we'll wait and see what happens with that. But just on a couple of running backs, while we're on the running back theme, you did get rid of a couple of nice depth running backs in the draft. I'm not concerned about who you came up for, but what's the thinking behind? So it was the two Pittsburgh running backs, so Dowdle and Warren, who both have standalone value, no doubt, this year. So what are you down on both of those guys?
One of the bigger Jalen Warren stands that you'll find, and obviously Najee Harris is one of my nemesis because it was a little bit like the Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones thing of the past, where kind of felt like everyone knew that, Aaron Jones was the better running back, but the coach kept playing Jamal Williams. Well, it felt very similar with what Pittsburgh did with Najee, and he didn't miss any games ever. He played every single week for 4 years, I think.
And then took his own eye out or something like that with a firework.
And then they drafted Caleb Johnson, and he's turned out to be no good. And then they brought in another back, didn't they, last year, Pittsburgh, who split with Kenneth Gainwell because of the broken offense.
Went to Tampa.
Threw over 200 targets to running backs last year, and he's gone now. So, no, I'm actually pretty high on him, but I know McCarthy likes Dowdle, and he'll want to play that 3-receiver set, run the ball. Like, they don't really add any value to me unless one of them gets hurt. Having both ended up on the same team, so I thought instead of getting rid of, Tube Hubbard, making it up, just get rid of both the Steelers, and then don't have to worry about that headache, and you keep a potential starter every other week.
So you get rid of you're high on Jalen Warren, but you get rid of him for Jacoby Lane essentially, because that's what you end up picking with that draft pick and a 28th third. So I mean, are you exceptionally high on someone like Jacoby Lane for Baltimore?
Relative to everyone else that was available at that time, maybe, but I just kind of thought that having a look at our league, like I talked about, I was in jest talking about Parity before, but in our league, the way it's constructed at the moment, there's not a lot of people looking for flex running backs and willing to give up draft capital for them. You're either at the pointy end with your running back team set, or you're a rebuilding team looking to sell, and I just so happen to have many. So I wasn't asking for the world to get rid of them, and I figured with the 2026 crop being pretty weak by comparison to other years, I thought if I can get a late second and just have some dart throws, all I need is one to hit and then I'll be better for it. Like if I'm playing Rico Dowdle in the playoffs, something will have gone wrong.
Look, it's an interesting point you make here, and unless you're in the position where you probably need to sell a running back, it's great to talk about it in theory, but if there's no buyers, then it's actually not an easy thing to do. And everyone knows that, I mean, the NFL doesn't highly value running backs, so why should you highly value a running back? But they do score points, believe it or not, and they can win you chips. But it is a very hard position, you're right, because every expert consensus out there talks about selling running backs, but there's got to be people to buy them. It's great to say sell something, but if you don't have a buyer, it's kind of irrelevant.
Yes, no doubt. But let's move on to maybe a difficult question for your roster, given how top heavy it is, and that is who on the flip side you think you are concerned about maybe potentially losing some value at the end of this year.
Losing some value at the end of this year. I mean, in the off season there was late last season, there was talks that Joe Burrow was just going to hang it up. So it was a bit concerning, but I don't think it was very serious. Just having a look, I don't know. I can probably go through a few. If Achan, if Miami have a terrible year, Josh Jacobs, if anything comes of his doings of late. Just flicking through. Terry McLaurin's 32. I think he'll have a really good year this year. But who knows?
Why don't we flip it and drill into someone like a Kenneth Walker? Are you happy with what has transpired there, moving from Seattle to the Chiefs?
Yeah. So I've been a big Kenneth Walker guy for a while. Well, I wasn't when he got drafted, actually. I thought he was just a pure running back that couldn't catch passes. But 2 years ago in Seattle, he did catch a lot of passes. So I really thought, and a lot of, kind of fantasy football thought that he could explode. But for whatever reason, they just love playing Charbonnet in Seattle. And surprise, surprise, when Charbonnet got hurt, he blew up. So I was hoping that Walker would go somewhere else, and turns out he did, and he went to the Chiefs of all teams. So I was pretty happy with how that played out. Just won a Super Bowl MVP, and he wasn't going for a lot at the time of that trade. I think Papa got Kyron Williams, and I knew at the time who I had a better outlook for, in future years anyway. So yeah, it was a shame I couldn't use him through the playoffs in fantasy because he was sharing the field with Charbonnet. But no, I'm happy with how that turned out. I think he'll be good this year. I don't think he's got a lot behind him. Probably just want Mahomes to come back pretty quickly. I think he's on track for week 1, which will help. But yeah,
Mahomes is definitely on track for week 1. But he's an interesting one because I think he's an RB1 at the moment. I think he's hovering around RB12 in Dynasty startups, and it's going to be interesting to see because you've probably got Mahomes coming back from injury working in your favour. I think they got him in to run the ball just to get him back to speed pretty slowly, or however they need to do that. But then he's never finished higher than RB16 in his career. And then the Chiefs haven't had an RB1 since 2019, which is a really interesting stat because we always want to chase the running back for the Chiefs because it's such a high-powered offense. So it's going to be a really fun one to watch this year, getting Walker in from Seattle to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think since Kareem Hunt was any good, who have the Chiefs had in the backfield that's been
that
as
talented,
good or better than Kenneth Walker is currently? And then I think as well this year, it's the first time that he doesn't appear to have any competition for goal line carries, whereas he's had Charbonnet for 3 years and he wasn't catching any passes before that because when he came out of college, he couldn't catch passes. He just wasn't asked to. And then he had shitloads of targets 2 years ago, and everyone was like, "Oh, Kenneth Walker." But then it just under Kubiak, it didn't happen last year. But kind of believed in the talent, and hope at least get one good year out of him, and we'll reassess.
And what about T. Higgins, Thais? I've always watched this with a bit of fascination. You're very heavy on the Bengals, which I think you've won a chip because of that strategy. That strategy paid off when they have a big week. But carrying T. Higgins along with Burrow and Chase, I've always been interested to know your theory behind that, because I can see the world where it's insurance for Chase, because when he goes out, Higgins often explodes. And then, but it's also the other side. Do you try and diversify those assets at all? Have you ever received an offer that made you think you should offload T. Higgins, or are you just happy to roll him out every week because of the offense and the quarterback?
I actually don't get people asking to trade. This is something I find very interesting. I'm 90+% of the time on the front foot, trying to tee up trades. So for whatever reason, I don't get a lot of questions around, are you up for this or that? And if it is, it's generally someone like a Jake Panis coming up to JSN for a second. Shout out. But no, so I think with T. Higgins, I got him in the startup. And then I got Chase in after that because I liked the player. And then won the chip that year. And then I was I had Dak Prescott. And I had CeeDee Lamb. So I was kind of I just liked Joe Burrow. I think I was a bit concerned about Dak at a point in time and probably didn't have reason to be. But yeah, when I got him in, it worked out really well that they just neglected the defensive side of the ball after that surprise Super Bowl run. So then the year I won it against Parity in the final, they just went off. And I was like, this is good. And the insurance about it with these guys in particular is if Chase or Higgins are out, the other one just gets more work. So as long as you've got 11 or 12 guys that you can play any week, you actually get a better version of T Higgins if Chase is out, or a better version of Chase if Higgins is out. And you're kind of playing with a 50, 60 point floor, because it doesn't matter who catches the touchdowns. I mean, the only time it really backfired was when Chase Brown scored 3 times against me in the playoffs last year, and that obviously knocked me out. So, it's a week-to-week game, but yeah, I like it in the sense it's fun for starters. I like Burrow, I like Chase, I like Higgins. I think Higgins is probably the best wide receiver 2 in fantasy. And yeah, he's got... I'm clicking the pen again, I just realised.
Yeah, you are.
He's nervous about the big gully.
Yawn.
Just tell.
Just the pen clicker.
It's great for an audio medium.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm happy with it. Like, it's worked, it's backfired, but I think ultimately it produces a high weekly floor. And it's a very unique setup as well.
When it did backfire, in fairness, your opposition scored 200. So it probably wasn't going your way anyway that week, I'm guessing.
No.
But philosophically, mate, are you searching for a stack in a playoff scenario? Are you looking for that high variance outcome, or are you more, just let me, diversify and
so my rule on
the
stacks
swings
is,
are too high and too low?
I'm not looking for stacks in Dynasty. I think I ended up getting Chase the player. I was bummed that Higgins didn't leave Cincinnati, and then he stuck around and ended up having the high floor. It's a very unique setup. Like, you need the wide receiver 2 to be really, really strong. Otherwise, having a triple stack, unless you've got the Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill of years past, it's very rare.
Yeah, there's not many.
That you can pull it off. Everyone needs to be really good, not just 2 out of the 3. But in redraft, the rule of thumb is you target a stack when the players, you rate them higher than the ADP. So, it's not something I go looking for in Dynasty, because things change year to year and you have to evaluate the player. But in redraft, it's a season outlook. So if you go, I'm really high on Dallas's offense this year, go and get the stack if you think you're smarter than ADP.
Very nice. We're going to pivot now. You've had too many minutes to gloat about your roster. So we're going to pivot to the trade and strategy section, and it's fitting because you just mentioned you've had to do a lot of the brunt work with your trading, so you'll be well versed to answer this question. But having listened to every pod, you're an avid listener for us. We want to know how you go about trading. So we've heard about the calculators, the moral compasses, and then those that don't even trade. So talk us through how you approach someone in a trade and how you think the deal will get done, or how you go about it from the start to get a deal done.
Well, for starters, look at when you're doing a trade with someone. I think many people have shared the same thing, that you have to go to someone and kind of go, I've noticed your running back room's light, or I noticed you've got a lot of picks and you actually got a pretty positive outlook this year, or whatever. It can't just be, I like Puka, I'm just going to go and get Puka off Tim. I don't really have anything that he wants, but I'll just sales pitch him. So that's probably the first thing. There are some players that you really like that maybe you think, I know something about this guy that I'm not convinced the guy that owns him does. So you just try and find a generic kind of trade. But usually I'll just go out and reach out and say, I've got too many running backs, or I'm light on picks, or I need a backup tight end. You just kind of lead off with what you're looking for. Make the observation about the other person's roster and just see where you go. And it's mixed reviews. Some people you come to me with the trade, or come back to you with a counter. Your Camos and your Jims are very you've started talking to me, let's see it out. You've got your Mannies of the world where if it's not interesting, he just won't reply. But if he's intrigued, he'll let you know that he'll look tomorrow. There's certain people I just haven't really dealt with a lot. I think Keeney's probably someone that's always, and Ben as well. Ben's contended every year until now. Keeney's always thinking. Very
But you're big on not trading in the division, which is unique to other league members that seem to not really care. You seem to care about that
Well, like,
a bit.
a division's been strong. Like every year, at least one of you guys has been up. Like we've never been the what's the shit division called? The Dingers division. What's it called?
Go on,
Sunny
Hod.
Weavers.
Sunny Weavers. Sorry. Sunny Weavers, best division in world sport. Like we haven't had the year where it's like, oh, it's Matt or Keenan and the other three could be. There's always at least two. Like I don't think I've won a division. I might have only won it once. I can't remember. So usually there's not an opportunity to do a trade. Tim turned it around pretty quickly. Papa I did some trades with when he was rebuilding and not now. And then yourself, you've landed on the number 1 pick 2 years in a row. So all of a sudden you're back. So, it's not a division thing. It's more just the landscape of the league.
Nice. Hey, quick question without notice. If you could trade 1-for-1 Chase for Gibbs and have Bijan and Gibbs as your 2 running backs, would you do it?
No. But, no, I wouldn't. But I was all set to take Gibbs a few years ago until the podcast started colluding to make sure that Hod took Jameer Gibbs at pick 4.
5. I was
5.
always taking Gibbs.
So
Well,
I took JSM, that's right.
Another question that might be tough because you're that bloody good, mate, and you've told everyone about it. But if there's one player that you could steal from another roster, not your own, who would it be?
Yeah, I did think about this actually, and I couldn't answer it with just one player. So if I was trying to win this year, Jameer Gibbs for sure. I think with Montgomery out, and he's just got the potential to be anything. I expect him to be RB1 this year, barring any injuries. Like this might be the year that they release the shackles because Pacheco's, he might pinch some goal line work, but why should take Gibbs off the field? But then overall, someone like a Jaden Daniels, I think someone that's just going to play 10 years. It's got the rushing upside. I would have said Lamar, as recent as 1 or 2 years ago. But just like that really high value quarterback that's just not really going to go down in price, and you can decide to move him or move some other things and insert him into the lineup, whatever. Jaden Daniels.
Real quick one without notice here, Thais. So I'm just looking at some values of players on your list and others here, and Keeney threw out a hypothetical trade. What about a straight swap T. Higgins for Kyle Pitts with your brother? Would you entertain it?
Little skinny at tight end.
It's interesting.
In division, probably not.
Yeah, like Kyle Pitts is... to be honest. But I was just scared to say the word on the podcast.
I wasn't looking for that response.
Is that worse than a pen click?
He's been an absolute letdown, Kyle Pitts, like the hype that he had around draft time. But I think the most positive outlook on him this year in a while. But like, if we're waiting until now, I don't know. But I get the positional need. Yeah, is it? I don't know. I could just see Pitts just being the same old Pitts, and then I'd regret the trade.
I think the interesting...
I get it.
Interesting thing with Pitts, though, is he's just about to turn 26 this year, and he's played 6 seasons in the league. Like, you kind of forget that he's been around for a long time, and he's not that old. Like, he's a fascinating player. Anyway,
I agree with the sentiment that they said, though. He's got a stank about him.
Yeah,
because of
Big
his
top
draft.
Yeah. He's on the short list.
The hype that came in around him for sure.
I think Stefanski going there is the big win, given how much he filters to the tight end. But yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. I'm just interested to see if you hold T. Higgins for forever, or who do you hold longer, Chase or Higgins?
Ooh, that's a good coin cost. That one.
I can't tell you how fun it is owning Jamar Chase. I think the league, probably similar to anyone that's owned Tyreek Hill, right? Like the league quickly goes, oh, you're not doing that to us anymore. Like that Chiefs game in the playoffs against Benny a few years ago was just like 50-yarder after 50-yarder. It was insane. It was so much fun. But You never
Yeah,
say never.
heaps
Like
of fun.
everyone's got a price. It doesn't matter what anyone says, unless you're the DFF. Everyone's got a price.
Very good. All right, Hyde, have
You're
you?
up, mate.
Yeah, I am up.
Fucking hell. You do this once an episode.
Oh no, Keeney's more likely to do this.
There's a bus coming.
All right, let's.
Mark it in.
Yeah, oh my.
Check this out.
Oh no, this is staying in the episode.
What about
Warts
the pen
and
click?
warts and all. Yeah, I'll click my pen while I'm talking about it. Hey, Thais, what's the best? We'll move to your history of trading. What's the best one you've ever made?
Done a lot.
Hell of a lot.
Yeah, I don't know how many seismic ones I've done. There are lots of, kind of seconds at there. Like a lot of singles, we'll call it, instead of like real home runs.
Singletaries.
But,
Tonyan for a first is a home run.
Slam
I
dunk.
end up being Tonyan for bloody 6 weeks of Deontay Johnson, so not really. But anyway.
Still a good
That's
six,
not-
good
that's
6
not
weeks.
my fault.
No, I actually didn't look up any of the trades. I'm just going off the memory bank.
Off
I
the
think-
dome.
The trade I'm the most proud of would have to be the Jamar Chase move up a few years ago. I think
The 105. Was it Sutton?
What was that again?
Sutton and
Mark
something
Andrews.
He was Andrews and Miles
Mark Andrews.
Sanders for Chase.
That's right. Miles Sanders.
It may be something. I can't remember. But yeah, like just I remember
Yeah.
that draft, and it was the
that
first
first
time
rookie
I'd been
draft?
like, oh my god, there's someone that I think can be what Jamar Chase ended up being. I was like, how do I get up? How do I get up? And I had Waller and Andrews, and I was like, I reckon Manny will take a tight end. Probably picked the wrong one in the end. Like I liked Waller at the time. Like he's coming off a big year, and then he just kind of went off the rails. I remember Lou was watching my best friend's wedding,
Yep.
and I was in the background just working the phones real hard with Manny. Managed to get in. I remember when I did the trade, Keeney was in the trade. He's like, $1 Kyle Pitts. And I was like, he's trying to get in my head. He wants me to take Kyle Pitts here, but it was always Chase. And like...
So you made that on the clock? It wasn't before the draft?
Yeah, on the
On the
clock.
clock.
On the clock.
On the clock.
But-
I'd been talking to him about moving up. Because I think, we hadn't seen a rookie receiver come in and kind of do what he'd done. I know Jefferson did it, but that was a startup, so I think it was a bit different. So I think his view at the time was like, yeah, I'll take a tight end, but a receiver's not going to help me. He had a really strong receiver room at the time, I remember now.
We had
and
Jefferson. Yeah.
took Chase.
I think he
and-
was more...
oh, stoked.
Yeah, I think he was more, I'm getting a known product that
Yeah.
Pick could miss.
Yeah,
that was probably
and he'd
his
been very
mindset,
vocal
but-
about that on the pod. And I liked Mark Andrews as well. I just thought I had Waller. I had Lamb, and I don't think anyone else at that point. And I just thought that like he had better production than Jefferson. He was a year younger, and we just saw what Jefferson did. I just couldn't get my head around why he wasn't going to. And then I just saw all the quarterbacks going, and then I was like, fuck, we're on here. I couldn't get higher than 5, so I was trying to trade with Jim at 104, but we just couldn't work it out. But yeah, so that was
the thing I remember. The thing I remember most about that trade was you traded up to 5, and then took 55 minutes to make the pick.
Yeah.
So
Great
that was
fun.
all.
no.
Always good. Mate,
I think we got to
you
a
got
good pick in
nervous.
my best
You got a
friend's
bit
wedding.
nervy.
No, I didn't.
Do we know if Manny did he say whether he was taking Chase or Pitts?
Think Pitts, but I can't remember.
I think he was leaning Pitts out of memory.
So then he was effectively choosing Mark Andrews over the generational prospect at the time at
Plus.
the same position. Plus.
Plus, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting one. All right. Well, we've spoken about what you love there. What's the flip side, mate? What's the worst trade you think? 7 years now. We're going into our 7th year here. What's the worst one that springs to mind?
Give people hope because you've won 2 chips, but you've made some doozies.
Yeah. All right. Well, how's this one? I think Como brought it up on the pod early on. Was I gave up CeeDee Lamb, Travis Etienne, and a first for JSN. No, I traded JSN, Etienne, and a first for Lamb and a second. I think, I just couldn't be bothered waiting around for JSN to break out. Like, he was still wide receiver 3 in that offense. They changed coordinators. He didn't fix. I knew the talent was there, but I couldn't wait. And Lamb was, the alpha with Prescott back. ETN, I thought he was done and dusted. Like, he got injured like the week after the trade. I was like, he's cooked. And he came out the following year and was actually really good. JSN went on to do JSN things in year 3. And Lamb got hurt in that playoffs, and I still won the ring anyway. So, I wish I hadn't done the trade, but at the time, the thinking was sound. I was like, get off ETN. I can't wait around for JSN. Probably didn't think he'd be as good as he was. I was high on him enough to take him when I did. And then Lamb, I haven't owned Lamb for 1 year in this league, and the 1 year I didn't own him, he had his best year. And that was with Como. So Como bought him cheap, sold him high. So that's probably my worst one. And then the honourable mention was when I tried to get off of Jared Goff. I traded him for a future second to Jim. That was the last year when he was going into Detroit, and he was done. He was at the Rams, and he was about to be done and dusted, and he got traded to Detroit. And we're like, Detroit's definitely going to replace him this shit. Mm-hmm. And they built a juggernaut. So
I mean that one's a little bit more, good process, poor result. Because that one, I remember everyone probably thought Goff's a 1 year rental. They're gonna overdraft him, and he's gone.
I remember shopping him when I was on my trip up in Hamilton Island, and I was shopping him around, and everyone was like, "No." I remember talking to Manny, Jake, Scoot. No one wanted him.
And
it was like late.
I remember thinking you did well to get a second rounder for him at the time.
Yeah.
So
the Lamb one hurts because I didn't stick to my guns and trust JSN. Anyway.
But the Goff one, mate, if you had the DFF mindset and recipe, we wouldn't be talking about it today. And we've sort of spoken about who's hard to trade with and who's good to trade with. So I'll pivot and just ask you about where you think the DFF's roster can get to this year. And has he got a chance to finally get in the playoffs and create some momentum? And can you imagine the group chat when he does?
My man, I think he'll win the division pretty comfortably.
Yep.
Unless Brody is able to move all those 2027 picks.
He's not doing it.
But I'm looking around the league thinking who would. I don't think there's anyone, and we can get to that question later, but I don't think there's anyone that's like standing by the red button ready to blow it up. Ben would have, but he's already halfway there. No, I think Steph will win the division. I think, he can definitely win a playoff game. I think he won't finish higher than a 3 seed. So I think he can win week 1. If he gets a weak opponent in week 2, doubtful. But I reckon he'll win the division and maybe win a playoff game. It'll be the year of the DFF and be exciting.
That's a nice lukewarm response.
It's for go on, mate.
No, you had a question.
Go. We've got a Sandra side. No, it wasn't a question. It's just it's an observation of mine because you guys focus on the winning records of these divisions as the metric, but geez, we talk about the Sonny Weaver Junior division a lot. I mean,
far too high.
We just had a trading question, and you brought up the DFF again. So that's the sort of impact that this division can have on world sport. But we will push on.
League, but,
He bit of fun for the league. I reckon it's the funnest part of the pod. Who is, just your perception of the league, of course, who is your biggest threat to the title? And, Dublé question, who is the biggest pretender in the league for this coming season?
Biggest threat has to be Tim. I think Tim, a few pods in a row, kind of like a few people have had him as like, if he has a bad year, he could be the one to do the emotional rebuild, but he's got a deep young quarterback room, a super deep young running back room, wide receiver room. His tight ends are stacked now. He's got Pitts and Warren and Sadiq, and he had Likely, but he shipped him off. And then his running backs, he's just added McCaffrey and Henry. He's got Hampton sitting there. He's like taking a couple of those 3rd and 4th round flyers that are injury away guys. So I think Tim definitely. Keeney, unless he can get Brock Bowers for 4 firsts, or whatever it is. but I suspect he will wait a year and use those picks in a different way. And then it's the question of most overrated team or biggest pretender.
Biggest pretender, yeah.
There's a few of them. Well, you can't say Scoot because he just won. So pretending he didn't pretend, he did. So it's not him.
Good pick.
Jake.
Do it.
It's only a couple of others then.
No, it's definitely the punches. I think everyone said it. He's gone out and got JSN. He's come and told me, mate, I had the same team last year and I've just added JSN. Forgetting that other people have added players as well. Apparently he's the only one that's done it. And then, yeah, I could definitely see him pressing the red button to answer that question. He's, he is never going to win a ring. So
Wow, that's a big call.
there you go. Print it on the wall.
Put it on the wall.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
I
Never
told
gonna
him
win.
that when he got Jason that he is more sloppy seconds, so enjoy.
It's a little sour grapes I'm hearing because he's the one that got away, and now you're hoping that he fails for Papa. All right, well, you mentioned him as the biggest pretender. Who's one bad season away from the emotional rebuild, according to the Prestige Worldwide?
It is Papa. It is Papa.
The Double.
Yeah, I'm doubling down. I mean, I would say it's Jake, but he'll just go back to gym and turn shit into gold. So he'll be all right until Jim runs out of assets. So it's got to be Papa. They're going to be fighting over that 2030 first when it becomes available.
I cannot wait for Papa to be on the pod next week.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Give me your worst. I'll make sure I'm wearing both my rings while I'm listening.
It's a real art setting up these team reviews in a very deliberate order
Yeah.
for some right of replies, that's for sure. Keeney, the biggest and best question.
Yes, everyone's been
on
waiting.
The pod. Now set it up very nicely.
I will set it up because
wait.
I will set it up well because our man on the pod tonight, he's not shy to add some detail to the story. So I'm terrified to ask this question, but what is your lunch order?
Ooh,
What do you go with today?
depends.
Talk me through
Depends
your
whether I'm in the
afternoon.
office or at home.
It's always great when an answer starts with depends.
And when I'm
What
in
do you
the
do today?
office,
Talk me through it minute by
I have
minute.
the same lunch order every day. I go to this little Vietnamese joint up in South Bank.
Pardon me.
And I get a chili chicken on rice bowl. And then I wait 30 seconds and it's given to me straight out of the Bain Marie. And I go back to the office, smash it. I've got a big reputation for eating it. And then I wash it down with a bit of liquid crack, which is Pepsi Max Vanilla. If anyone has not had it before, get on it.
Pepsi Max
My
Vanilla.
same lunch every day when I'm in the office. It never wavers.
I imagine on a Monday morning watching Fantasy Thales, you're a very considered person and very organised type operator when it comes to fantasy and how you do things. Are you intently aware of your opposition? How do you get up and watch Red Zone in the morning or the pack?
Yeah, I share DAZN or Red Zone subscription with Tim.
By detail.
But now you can have multiple devices. It's amazing. So I get up and I have the
What's
Packers
the
on.
payment?
and
What's
I
the
usually have
payment
Red
plan
Zone
you're on, mate?
right down the middle. Yeah, you let me
What
know
about
when
fantasy?
you're ready for me to continue, and I'll carry on.
Salt Bay.
What about fantasy? Are you watching the scores tick as they go, or are you
listen
just
to
thinking my
answer.
team's that good? I don't
sit
need to worry about it.
I watch the Packers, and I have Red Zone up on my iPad or on my phone or whatever. Sometimes I have the split screen up with the audio on the Packers game. Just depends who's playing, what's going on, what time of year. Fantasy, I'm more interested in redraft because I'm one of the better Dynasty teams every year, and I know I'll be there at the end. So I just kind of look in redraft because it's high variance. You could be eating pancakes, or you could be the highest scoring team in the league in a given week. So I usually have a look the night before who I'm playing, and I don't know who their teams are. Whereas in Dynasty, I just know who owns who, whatever game.
You're usually not short on a detail, but you've left a critical one out here. When the pack play the Vikings, how do you split that between you and Timos?
Well, you can now have multiple locations. This is what I was saying before you schoolgirls bursted out into laughter. But before that, I had KO and there were 7 mates, so we usually just sort it out. We're usually on prime time too, because couple of big NFC North teams.
I mean, the whole point of this pod is to try and sell your team, but all we're hearing is like, I'm too good, so I don't worry about watching my roster, and I follow a primetime team. It's got a bit of insufferable about it, mate.
One thing I do though, it's not man is I don't like checking the fantasy scores at all. What I actually do is really weird, and I jump into all the box scores and look at all the player stats on games that I wake up at 5:30, say, and I'm like, ooh, shit, 21-7 in the Buffalo game. Has Tassels run in 3, or they're all kind of James Cook, and then I try and work out in my head how I think I'm going. That's something I do.
I do that.
Yeah, guilty.
I don't like to just be like, fuck, my team's scoring shit. I like to work it out over 20 minutes, clicking in 20 box scores.
Build the suspense.
You like to build it up, just first, second, and third base sort of styles. If your franchise had a headline at the end of this season, we know you're good. You've just spent an hour saying that. What would it read?
How's this for a headline? Take my name out of your goddamn mouth, penis. And me brothers.
I don't know what I was expecting it, but it wasn't that. It definitely wasn't
Another rating focus, Ben.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's going to have to be.
Well, I think it'll be high end.
So I knew we were on here.
I'm not sure winners of the demographic of followers Theus is after, but he's certainly going to have another following with those sort of outlandish statements.
Righto. Before we close it out, Theus, give us a prediction. Give us a bold prediction for your team or anyone else's, to be fair, because your team, I don't know if there's much, unless you say you're going to go undefeated, but feel free to give us a bold prediction.
I wrote something down at 1 minute before we jumped on. Hang on, let me find it. It was good. Yeah.
Take your time.
You'll enjoy this. There's a bit of humour. I've just got here. Prestige runs to slate. Great. Prestige wins again. See you in the bed, Ben.
You redeemed yourself there. That was a better one.
The flowers blossom in spring, Theus.
See in the bed, Ben.
The flowers blossom in spring, Theus?
Always and forever. That's right. Greatest night of my life.
Great work. All right. Well, you've done a great job of extolling the virtues of the Prestige Worldwide, the champs, the number 1 rated team currently. But this is your moment, mate. We need to build a following for each of these franchises, and this is your platform right now. We're at the hour 10 mark, so if anyone has stuck around for this long, this is the time you sell them on your team. What have you got to say?
I have to say, I've listened to this podcast for the last 10 weeks and I've heard everyone come on and with their lame-ass AI-generated, come and follow my team, blah, blah, blah. All I've got to say is, when I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. I got 2 rings. Play the song, Ben.
Drinking sangria, nachos, lemon heads, my dad's boat. You won't go down cause my dick can float.
We sail around the world and go port to port. Every time I come, I produce a quart.
Put on your life.
Jesus. Well done, Theus. Great. I mean, your sell was pretty much just to get a song from the movie Step Brothers to play for the majority of it, but you can't argue with the facts there. You have 2 championship rings to your name. Well done. We got there, hour 11 mark. I know you kind of knocked a few people for their AI generation, but I I mean, your headlines weren't the strongest. If I've got to pick a hole in your rhyming scheme of your headlines, were a little bit on the weak side. But colourful, yeah. So was your language and your impressions, and I've got to review. The McMahon brothers have just sent the reputation of this podcast into disarray. It's fair to say. Thank you for coming on. I thought you were going to maybe just add in a final moment there, but
I am.
Go. Well, then don't leave a 30-second silence.
Thanks for having me, boys. Another great podcast. Papa, if you're listening, give me your all next week. I don't want any of that weak shit. I want you to give it to me hard. Content. Over and out.
I don't think that's how you intended that sign.
Put me to sleep.
All right, that's all from the League Down Under. Whether you're rebuilding, contending, or convincing yourself that next year's your year, thanks for tuning in. Hit us up on Instagram for all the league banter and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode or bonus content. We'll catch you in the next one. And remember that flags fly forever, but so do screenshots of terrible trades. Jake Bantus.